Hello! Are you tired of looking for Lenten recipes and only finding unfilling meals like salads? Do you want a substantial meal for Lent that'll give you the calories and other forms of nutrition that you need? Do you also not want to spend very much money on that meal? Well, I'm going to help you out. I'm going to tell you how to make a Lenten pesto stir fry. Now, disclaimer, if you're really strict on the canons, you might not like everything I have to say in this video, and that comes down to olive oil. Now, my theory is that olive oil was not allowed because it was stored in animal skins. The canons let you eat olives, and olives have olive oil in them. Now, even if you're really strict, you can still enjoy this on a weekend during Lent or on a Tuesday or Thursday during the Nativity fast. So, even if you're really strict, you can still get something out of this video. Even if you're not Lenten at all and you don't fast at all, you could still get something out of this because this is really delicious. Okay, now let's talk about pesto. Pesto usually has basil in it, sometimes it has kale. You can make it out of spinach. I've tried making it out of cilantro before, but that just tastes really bitter and just not very good. So use spinach. So take about 3 good-sized handfuls of spinach and chop it up into a really fine piece, into really small, fine bits. And then put that in a blender. And then take a 1/4 cup of olive oil or another form of oil like avocado oil if you really want to be classy, or canola oil if you don't really want to spend very much money. Like, you want to spend even less money than you're going to spend already because this is like a really cheap recipe. I'm probably going to try canola oil this next week. Now, you can take a clove of garlic and chop that up and put that in there. A lot of times I forget to do that, so I'll just add some garlic salt. If you use the clove, add a little bit of salt too. I like to add some lemon juice. I just saw that in a recipe once and I haven't really stopped doing it. I'll probably stop when I run out of lemon juice, which will be in the next 2 weeks or so. You also want to add some water to this blender, unless you have a food processor, which I think has a little more strength than a blender, because if you just put all this stuff in there, the blender is going to have to work really hard to mix it up. So see where the pesto line is in the blender and add enough water into the blender so that it comes 3/4 of the way up from the top of the pesto line, or of the spinach line. You don't need to put a whole lot of water in there, just a decent amount, just to help uh, get those blades running. Otherwise, your blender is going to overheat. So now that you're done with the pesto, boil your pasta. I like to add beans in here too. It's good to boil your beans too. Uh, Canned beans are a ripoff. You can get for the price of 2 cans of beans, you can get twice as many beans, or probably more if you just boil them yourself. So you got your pasta, your beans, and your pesto. You're good to go. Now take a skillet and put in some oil on the bottom of it, just a little, enough to cover the bottom of the pan fully. So there's no dry spots. It's covered in oil. And then put your pasta in, your beans in, and then your pesto, and just mix it around. I like to put in a lot of pesto, so every bean and every piece of pasta I put in there is covered in pesto. And then take a lid and put it on the top. Now, think about that water you put in that pesto. The heat is going to boil the water out, and it's going to go onto the surface of that lid. So every 30 seconds to a minute, take the lid off, wipe it off with a dry rag, and put it back on. And then keep stirring your pesto so it doesn't get stuck to the bottom of the pan. And you might do this for about 5 minutes or so until the pasta gets to a temperature you like. If you have a thermometer, I suggest you measure it to at least 165 degrees. Now, enjoy your pasta. I like to put in crushed red pepper too because I love spice. Not everybody does. Not everyone can be as awesome as me. I get that. Now, you might be thinking, oh, I'm going to spend a lot of money on this. Well, you're not. You don't even need to spend $1.20 on this entree. And I'm going to show you how this works based off of grocery prices in my state, in my area, which I think are pretty representative of grocery prices in other parts of the country, unless you live in somewhere like California or Hawaii where grocery prices are really expensive. So, a bag of pasta is about $1.59 and it has 8 servings in it. And I'll use about 1 serving per dish. And that'll be about 20 cents. Now, a bag of beans is about $1.49 and I use about a sixth of the bag per serving. So it's about 25 cents. And it's the same deal with the spinach. $1.49 for the bag. I use about a sixth of that for each stir fry I make. So that's another 25 cents. So far, you're up to 70 cents. Now, the pasta, the price of the oil. I haven't really tracked that very carefully. I estimated that it would be about 30 cents to 40 cents per per entree that I make, per dish. And that includes the oil in the bottom of the pan and the oil in the pesto. So you're looking at $1 to $1.10. And then you factor in the tax and you might bring it up to $1.20. Now you're still going to be a little bit hungry after this, but you're getting some good calories in. Maybe you'll spend an extra 15 cents on a banana and maybe a little bit more, like a 30 cents on a glass of juice or something like that. And that's a pretty full meal you got there. You got about 800 to 1,000 calories in there, and that's a lot. That'll fill you up. So there you go, a substantial Lenten recipe that tastes good and is also really cheap. If you want me to clarify anything about this recipe, just post it in the comments and I'll do my best to answer it. Have a great day. Goodbye.